I'll call this meeting to order at, what time is it?
7:06.
All right, let's move over at 7:06. I don't think we have any regrets. Do we want to, yes, we don't need to go around and do introductions. We all know each other.
We should.
Okay, let's go around to introductions. I'm Joel Springer, BUSU president.
I'm Suze McFadden, Office and Services Manager.
Natalie Ord, BUSU General Manager.
Nick Brown, VPI.
Rachel Wu, Women's Director.
Ronnie, VPE.
Manuel Cool, Grassroots Director.
Sean Michaels, Cinnabon Aboriginal Director. Aaron Thompson, Sex and Gender Identity Based Director.
Mercedes McLean, Res Director.
And on the phone?
Roland, Director, Part-Time Tour and Parent.
Okay.
Manuel Rachel, Director.
Perfect. All right. Move on to adoption of the agenda. Could I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Nick, seconded Aaron. Any changes? I know I have a couple to make. Really straightforward. Can we move A and B and make them the new H and I?
And I've got an amendment too.
Okay.
And
Just hang on.
Sure.
I got two more things.
Sorry, wait.
New business or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So wait,
Just
you're
because I don't. Well, I guess we probably have. Actually, we have enough directors here. We should still have quorum. You know what? Actually, I don't need to change that because we'll have quorum regardless.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind then.
So you're keeping the A and B the same?
Yeah, I'm keeping the A and B, but I do have a new H and I to add.
Okay.
H be Suds BUSU Christmas party. And well, yeah, I'll keep this under that. Oh wait, I guess it all. Oh, and then I is LGBT collective funding. Sorry. Okay. Any other changes, Ronnie? I think you.
Just a club ratification for the Geological Society.
Okay, we'll make that point J.
Is that bugs?
Thanks, verification.
Sorry, what was that again?
Brown University Geological Society ratification.
Geography or geological?
Geological is what they call themselves.
Okay,
Sorry, geographical. Geographical.
that's what I thought.
Geo. Let's just go with
Geo, that's what it's called.
Oh, that's really good. Okay. Any other changes, errors, or omissions? Okay, seeing none, call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, passes. Did we have minutes to approve from the last meeting yet, Susan?
Sorry?
Do we have? Okay, there are not actually minutes yet from the November 13th meeting, so have those for the next meeting. Moving on to point 5, presentation of correspondence. I don't believe we have any presentations or correspondence tonight. Moving on to point 6, receipt of reports. Point 8, committee reports. Student activities not met yet. Campaign student relations is not met yet. Or SGPA is not met yet. Services not met yet. And then finance met on yesterday.
On yesterday.
From Finance Committee, we looked over BUSU's finances, including term deposits and our post Rock the Block financial status. Currently we're in the black essentially from Rock the Block. We're okay right now because of previous years have covered us. We will have some recommendations which I will bring forward to the next meeting. Some recommendations for next year and Rock the Block in orientation events in terms of from a financial standpoint. We also there's one other thing we did.
Well, it's just these that we brought forward.
Oh yeah, those okay. So yeah, those will come up later. Okay, yeah, that's it from finance.
Okay, point B, executive members and staff. My report's attached, but if you guys, like I said, I had a good meeting with Dr. Karen a couple weeks ago. When Zach Fleischer was in town. He picked our brains a lot about post-secondary education, but also we were able to bring up with him about water infrastructure on campus. So we'll be having a follow-up meeting with him, hopefully the next couple weeks, him and Tom Brophy. KC meeting was really good. We're considering several renovations, including the bathrooms, so that's a really exciting development. Also, same night as the KD or sub meeting last week, I actually attended a really good community conversation on the future of the HLC. The facilitator It was kind of a not your normal kind of facilitation session. She got us to ask really insightful questions, and it came up with a lot of good ideas. So hopefully something comes of that. And then Trans Day of Remembrance. I went to the Candlelight Vigil. Really beautiful and moving service. And then just coming up is planning for Christmas potluck, second term orientation, and mental health week, which will be at the end of January. That's it for me. Nick?
VPI, KDC board met. We discussed renovations, sort of our big talking point, which we'll hopefully be getting moving forward with next week, possibly. I attended the Suds board meeting, met with selection committee, and that will come to those guys later. Attended the board of governors meeting, which was the coldest Louis Rail Room experience I've ever had, and then finance committee met.
Okay, Ronnie?
So this week was basically working with the clubs. I had conversations with a few clubs about how they wanted to move forward with their club as a whole, and a couple working on a couple co-funding applications. And Suds board meeting was one of it. I was talking to Carla about a few of other things that we did not discuss in the meeting for a marketing side of perspective. Mostly, that is my report. Not much of a workload this past week. So.
Okay. Natalie, Suze, do you have anything?
You want to go first?
Sure. In addition, basically working with executive, focusing on KDC initiatives is taking most of my time, as well as Suds. I think we've had 2 productive and efficient board meetings, which is nice. And of course, finance met yesterday. There's a couple of things that we're helping the executive with coming up, which the executive will bring forward later on in this meeting. Oh, audit is still in process, so once I have the financial draft statements, which is after I do adjusting journal entries, I will provide those for you guys to approve.
Perfect. Thank you, Natalie. Suze?
For me, I've been working with office staff on just kind of getting things ready for events that we have. Today, Natalie and I went shopping for the yogurt bar that we're going to be having coming up. We also are going to have like Christmas cookie decorating, which I'm sure the executive will explain a little bit more. So we're doing shopping for those sorts of events. Also working at revamping some things for the food bank, kind of talking to our food bank coordinator to see what's working best and what's not working. So just generally getting posters and stuff made for events, and I've also been kind of spearheading Mental Health Week. So we had a productive meeting yesterday and talked about some of the events that we're wanting to have. All of you are welcome to come to those events if you're interested, come to those meetings if you're interested. We have a pretty good week kind of outlined so far that we'll share with you once it's solidified.
Perfect. Thank you, Suze. Director reports. So we don't have an arts director yet, don't have a science director yet, no studies vacant, music director is still vacant, education director is still vacant. Roland, do you have anything to report?
I was working with Coslomon in making the university, at least some parts of it, very more accommodating to students who are parents and mature students. Starting off with the library, we were able to encourage our librarian Betty Braxma, and she actually, with the approval of Scott, she was able to appropriate some amount to procuring chairs for little kids. You might be able to see quite a few pieces of furniture there, chairs actually and tables for very little kids. Just to start off the concept of the library as a public library, which would not just be for adult students, but even for students who are parents and who would be able to bring their kids with them as long as they're supervised. So I think that's the direction we are going towards with respect to the university public institution which would accommodate students from different walks of life. So that's all for now.
All right, thank you, Roland. Aboriginal Director, Sean Michael.
I'm looking up something here.
Okay.
Anyway, I had a meeting with Suze, and she wanted me to get BUSU and IPC in at a part of this health week. So I went in just informally and spoke with them. Didn't really. It was very vague. So I'm going to pull it up at our next IPC at our next BUSU meeting, because I sit on that board as well. So get something more concrete from them, more better ideas. And Rhonda and myself were talking with APTN about some sort of TV, and they made a donation to us to BUSU for a TV. It's old school. It's big. So I don't even know how I'm going to pick it up and move it, but I don't know. Is it worth grabbing? I don't know. But they donated it to us, so maybe we can grab it and then donate it off, possibly. As you guys might or might not know, Rhonda's leaving us. She'll be leaving us next week, or at the end of this week, sorry. Yeah. I think that's about it. Yeah. That's
All right.
about
Well, if you want help moving that TV, maybe you can recruit me. Women's Director, Rachel.
What was that? I also attended the Trans Day of Remembrance, which was really good. It was a good turnout. Really well done by Varun, so that was good. Also, the Women's Collective has kind of been in talks with the Gender and Women's Studies Department, because next Friday, as opposed, it's usually the December 6th vigil, but since the 6th is a Saturday, they're doing it on the 5th. It's for the women who in the Montreal Massacre. So we'll be doing that at noon in the cafeteria next Friday, so the 5th. We'll be doing that, so everybody's welcome to attend that, and otherwise just attending Women's Collective meetings, and that's about it for me.
Okay. Sex and Gender Identity-Based Director.
All right, I've attended 2 meetings with the collective since we last met up. The most recent one, we made sure to get in the collective budget, since it was a really important thing for us. I also attended Trans Day of Remembrance at the noon hour event, and it had a very good turnout. Also upcoming for our people, we have AIDS Day coming up on Monday, and then we have Positive Space Week for the first week of December. We're going to be holding a couple events there as well, including games night, movie night, sharing circle, and information booth. We couldn't book anything for the KDC because all week you have people throughout the mingling area. I had no chance to get any tables for the info booth. So we're going to be doing it just beside the auxiliary office, just in that area there. So if anybody's interested, that's where the information will be. Okay, so that's what I got.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
International Students Director, leaves them out here. Residence Director, Liz.
We've been having weekly meetings for Interres, and the 3 individual halls have been having their own meetings, like usual. Flora and McMaster have had their socials for this term the past couple weeks for Phoebe and Toga. Those went pretty well, I think. Not as well as some previous years, but they were alright. And then the big thing is we have our annual Residence Christmas Banquet coming up on the 4th. And we're actually we're inviting the executive as well as the 2 managers, Susan and Natalie, to that. So consider this your unofficial invitation. We'll get some formal invitations out to you, but the 5 of you then, Joel, Ronnie, Nick, Susan, and Natalie will be invited to that. If the rest of you want to come, you can buy tickets. Nick, yeah, you already get your ticket provided. That's why we included others this year. If anybody else wants to come, then they can buy tickets from Food Services. They're 20 something.
I would say like 26 or 24 or something like that.
Oh, they've really gone up in price.
Nick will tell you in a second.
No, can't.
Oh, never mind.
There's nothing on it.
But it's 20 something.
When I started university, they were like 15
It's
bucks.
next Thursday.
Yeah, it starts at cocktails at
30.
5:30. Supper starts at 6. And then the halls, we have some presentations of videos that the councils make and stuff, and
It's always a good time.
they're usually somewhat funny for the most part. Some more than others, but usually pretty good. Other than that, stuff's gonna be wrapping up for the most part in res for a little while once we get into exam time, and then we'll start up again next term.
Perfect. Graduate Studies Director, Emmanuel.
Not moving, but we're just making up plans to set up like a graduate student tip series. So we'll just have like a 2 weeks event. We'll have a select graduate student that will speak to like interested students, on a particular topic. It's basically going to be an academic form of thing, not like general outlook where you just have to organize events. It's focused on building younger students, to help them get better in terms of their studies. So it's going to be very interactive. 2 weeks. We have to set up a location where we'll have to do it.
Okay.
Probably somewhere in the science building will be great for that. So, like 3 days prior to the event, we set up materials, like send out emails to inform students that are available to come over to learn, gain knowledge. So that's it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Accessibility Director is currently vacant. Racialized Director, Manuel, do you have anything to report?
Nothing to report.
Okay. All right. Nick?
Just wondering, a point to Manuel and Sean, Michael, is there a report from CFS National or from Aboriginal Caucus?
That we discussed that already.
Yep.
In a meeting, and that's supposed to be in on Friday.
Okay, perfect.
We already made that agreement.
Yep, that's perfect.
All right. Have a motion to receive all the reports. Nick, seconder. Mercedes? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Mercedes. All right, we'll move on to 7, new business. Open session, point A, appointment of directors. Following director appointments are recommended by way of motion from the selections committee. Be it resolved, the following people will be appointed as BUSU directors for the remainder of the 2014-15 year, terms ending April 31st. Arts Director, Rita Diegu. Science Director, Rock LaCroix. Music Director, Natalie Pegas. Health Studies Director, Zaram Anya. I am sorry if I'm butchering these names. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Nick, seconded Aaron. Discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. Point B: appointment of student senators. Whoops, that's supposed to say the following senator. Student senator appointments are recommended by way of motion from the selections committee. Be it resolved, the following people will be appointed as student senators for the remainder of the 2014-15 year, terms ending April 31st. Health Studies Senator Grace Requena. Music Senator Nick Brown. Student Senator at Large Crystal Kane. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Aaron, seconded Ronnie. Discussion? Okay. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
Oh, sorry, I had a question.
Yep.
Who of the executives on Senate now? Is it just usual?
Currently, just me, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay. That question answered. We'll move on to point C. BUSU term deposit investment. Checking account. BUSU does this each year to gain some income. This came from Finance Committee. Be it resolved that BUSU make the following term deposits for the organizational checking funds. 6 term deposits of $30,000 each with maturity dates of January 2015, February 2015, March 2015, April 2015, May 2015, and June 2015. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Nick, seconded Ronnie. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Point D, BUSU term deposit investment, health and dental account. Once again, BUSU does this each year to gain some interest income. Be it resolved that BUSU make the following term deposits for the health and dental funds. 8 term deposits of $25,000 each, with maturity dates of January 2015, February 2015, March 2015, April 2015, May 2015, June 2015, July 2015, and August 2015. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Rachel, seconded. Ronnie. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Point E, Christmas potluck update. Update will be given on Christmas potluck, which will take place on December 22nd. Yeah, so do you want to start, Ronnie, or do you want me to jump in?
Yeah, go.
Okay, Christmas potluck.
I got nothing.
Okay. It's all good. Plan for Christmas potluck.
Plan for Christmas potluck. 20. No wait.
Monday, December 22nd.
22nd was the date.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm currently writing up letters to go to respective campus organizations as well as some local businesses.
okay.
I should have those all done tomorrow. Get them out.
And so it's we had the posters printed out. I saw the posters at the table in the office today, which I'm assuming will be out tomorrow. The next couple days, so people will have an idea. I'll put out a Facebook event and invite people. See who are all basically how many people we can have in here and just go from there.
I have got the office assistants to create a sign-up sheet in the office, so if you guys want to kind of encourage people or talk to people and kind of have a word of mouth, just to let them know that they can sign up for it in the office. It is a come and go sort of thing, so it's not required that they sign up, but it's nice for us to know, so we know how much food to try to buy or try to ask people to donate. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
While we were there, does Campus Tuesday donate food? No. Okay.
Natalie?
There is funds in the Christmas potluck expense account, so we do have funds set aside to purchase on behalf of BUSU food for the students coming out. But then anything additional would be great. So if you know people are coming, it's nice to just bring a little dish or something like that.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we'll move on. Okay. Point out, Women's Collective funding. Attached to the agendas here tonight, I have a letter from the Women's Collective as well as their attached budget as per our requirements for collective funding. Pretty straightforward. So, Rachel, yes?
No, nothing. I was just waving at you.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, these two. Sorry. These two? Yeah. Okay. I realized. Oh, no, I did attach. Okay, good. I did attach. Be it resolved to be Women's Collective be given its $2,000 in annual collective funding. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Rachel, seconded. Aaron. Discussion. Nick.
So is 2,000 the maximum per club per year? Is that
Well, per collective.
sorry per collective? Is
It's
that
dedicated funding.
dedicated funding to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There's no other questions. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Congratulations on this. All right. Point G. Discussion of claimable hours. The members council wanted to have a discussion of claimable hours and what qualifies as additional hours and so on. Just to kind of clear things up. Oh, actually, several council members have asked questions about that. So, who would like to speak to it?
I will.
Yep.
Well, because a few of us were like wondering, me in particular, because the hours have lowered as to what directors can get.
Yeah.
It was never made clear what we can and cannot claim.
Yeah.
Because I know personally, if it would have been made a bit more clear, I may have had an extra credit hour, so then it would have been nice if executive would have been able to clarify that prior to submission of hours, as well as I'm not exactly sure how it works out for all council members because not all council members have a constituency that meets often. Like I know my constituency, for example, meets weekly, so I have hours on top of people whose constituencies do not meet at all. So I was just wondering like how that's gonna work because if we're trying to make it all equal, so.
Anybody else want to speak to that issue? Eric?
I'm in a similar boat. I have a pretty strong constituency that I have to go to every single week, as well as having office hours on behalf of them as well. But I was also hoping to make reference to when we do work that's above and beyond what is part of our constituencies and voting on their behalf. On behalf of BUSU, for example, working on a subcommittee that has little or nothing to do with LGBT rights or women's rights per se. What hours qualify and what don't, and can we get clarity?
Speakers list.
Go ahead, Mel.
Do you want me to ask now, or
Yeah,
are you?
you're up now on the speakers list. There's no one else ahead of you.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like for myself, I guess I was a little confused about how, because I guess it's up to like executives' discretion and how they're distributing the hours or whatever. But I remember at the beginning of the year, and I had talked to you, Joel, about this before, that we had determined at a council meeting that everyone was just gonna get this $300, which is the 3 credit per hours to what it was changed to from 12 to 3. And then we were getting 1 extra hour for Rock the Block.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of like automatic. And then we were emailed, like to the time where like the hours had to be submitted, we were emailed out instructions to come in and to fill out the paperwork and all that stuff. And then we were also emailed out the tuition rebate sheet, which kind of insinuated that we had to like fill it out, I guess, like write down the 3 hours or whatever we did in those 3 hours or whatever. So I came to the office and I did that, and then I remember I asked you about it, and then you had kind of confirmed and said that, yeah, at the beginning of the year we just kind of said that the 3 hours were automatic. And then as things like with Rock the Block and I don't know whatever else that was announced, that executive was announcing like, oh, you for this event or whatever event you can earn additional hours. But from what I understood, that was just at the discretion of the executive. So I was just wondering if I was wrong about that, or if you could just clarify.
Well, yeah, the way we did it was the 3 credit hours to each director, and then kind of additional credit hours as per what came up. So like helping out work socials, that kind of thing, could perhaps count as extra hours towards additional credit hours, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's Nick.
So as far as I understand it, the 3 credit hours are automatic to all directors. You get 3 credit hours per semester for the work you do with us. But as far as the breakdown of that goes, in my brain, I'm thinking each of those hours is worth 15 man hours essentially. So 1 hour can go to BUSU meetings, right, through the semester. 1 of those hours goes towards your constituency meeting hours, like your Women's Collective, LGBTQ Collective. And then another hour goes towards the subcommittees that you sit on, as far as I see. And then everything else you do on top of that is you can claim those hours. So things like Rock the Block was something we did on top, and we gave it an hour for that because it was it might not have been 15 hours that were required there, but it was a massive workload that we all had to just do, and so that was sort of a special case. But things like doing events and such on behalf of BUSU, going to events on behalf of BUSU, is where I think that those hours can be claimed, like going to the Trans Day of Remembrance as a BUSU representative, or to things like Ronnie and I went to Remembrance Day at the Keystone. We laid a wreath we were there on behalf of BUSU. We could claim those hours, so I see that you guys could as well. Does that make sort of this is just what I've seen. But.
Okay, Natalie.
Just to clarify for everybody, whenever you get tuition rebate paid to you, I need you to come in and fill out the form because I need your signature on them, or else I can't submit them. So just so everyone is aware and that's clear, whenever I submit tuition rebate, which is twice a year for everyone's term, it would be in November and then again in April. You need to come in, just sign it, and that's all I need. And depending if you've never been paid by the university before, like some of you had to submit bank forms because I need to know where these funds will be deposited. So just so everyone's aware of that.
Okay, Suze.
So So I just think depending on what you guys end up wanting to do in terms of tuition rebate for future years, or whether or not you're sticking with this process, you guys might want to have a conversation about potentially updating the bylaws to include maybe more of a description for director roles. Completely up to you guys again, but it just might be more helpful in terms of how you want the process to go.
Speakers list.
Okay. Rachel?
Nick and I had kind of had a meeting last week where we had kind of discussed tuition rebate as well. And then we had decided to add it to the agenda. And Nick had mentioned the breakdown of what he kind of believed to be a good breakdown, which I kind of agree with, but then at the same time, it kind of brings up the idea of, again, of I personally have weekly meetings, Aaron personally has weekly meetings, so then that 15 man hours is done, but not everyone has constituencies to meet with weekly or bi-weekly or even monthly, really. So that kind of puts into question, are these people who aren't meeting with constituencies putting in this 15 hours where people who, like the Women's Collective knows I'm there every week, so.
Mercedes?
Kind of going along with that, for the whole constituency thing, if we break it down that way, does that mean that we're capped at 15 hours that we get paid for within our constituencies? Because like I have weekly meetings for the McMaster Council, weekly meetings for Interres, bi-weekly meetings, like ARA meetings, I guess my area sessions, like that kind of falls in, I get paid separately for that though, but so like if we're getting more than 15 hours within our constituency with our weekly stuff like that, are we able to claim above and beyond the 15 hours, or is it being capped at that because that's how the breakdown was kind of set up?
It's just an arbitrary breakdown. Everyone gets 3 credit hours. It's just kind of. I don't think these kind of issues were necessarily foreseen. Sean, Michael?
No, you guys covered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Ronnie? Oh, okay.
I think Aaron was on there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. There's a long speakers list. Aaron?
With my interest in doing, trying to be part of the bylaw committee in short time, I would like to put forward a recommendation to that group, whoever it becomes, even if I'm not on it, that there are several resolutions that might be a good idea to put in. One of them being that year to year, we're given a very finite number of credit hours. This is something that's very clear, something that I'm not sure exactly how many are, but once all credit hours are distributed for the year that are absolute, the floating remaining credit hours are what should be able to be claimed. We can't go over and above that, obviously. But we shouldn't reward people that aren't really pulling their weight and not give people things when they are really working hard. So I would ask that the bylaw committee consider taking that amount and dividing it with the remaining number of directors, and that is your cap.
Okay.
Right? Rather than having this arbitrary, you could get up to how much you earn in a year, like 15 credit hours total. But if that's not available for every single director, that shouldn't be there. It should only be what we have available to give. And if we go above and beyond, and we already know that that's our cap, that's our cap.
Yep.
Right? Secondary to that, clarification on director duties and what the breakdown of those credit hours for bylaw should also be stated. I mean, right now we have arbitrary throwing out.
Yeah.
That's great for theory, but it's not on paper. If we get it on paper and then we can define that these are what these 15 hours are for, these are what these things are for, then we can work on top of that and build on top of this. But those are my 2 recommendations for the bylaw committee.
That sounds good to me.
Absolutely.
Okay, Manuel.
I was just gonna say, like, I wasn't aware that so 1 credit hour is 15 hours.
That's what it used to be, yeah. Like when you guys used to claim your hours, I believe it was for every 15 hours worked, you got 1 credit hour of tuition rebate.
So what happened with this last term, this last pay period or whatever? Like, were we not, like, were we supposed to keep track of our hours and submit them? Like,
No, because it just went to 3 given out regardless of how much you did. It was just 3 given.
like,
Okay, I'm still a little confused, but so as everyone's aware, like it used to be 12, and then it was a huge like big thing last year, like big controversial thing when it was changed. Which is why, like, I was against the change was because people keep track of their hours and then work to whatever else. There was more leeway to work with opposed to directors that weren't as active as other directors or in their roles, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I'm at this council meeting, like from what I understand, executive has the discretion to, like, I guess, issue more tuition rebate hours. So I'm not opposed to. My main concern in the tuition rebate was that, like, reducing it was that people wouldn't be running for these positions and these positions would be open. And I feel like a lot of directors do a lot of great work on campus. So I feel like they should be rewarded for, the time and energy that they put into their activities. So like if at this meeting, if we would be able to come to some type of consensus where executive is able to issue more hours for directors, like if that, I'm not sure if we would need a motion for that, but if it's like a general consensus and that executive takes into discretion, like what is being like accounted for each director, and then decide amongst themselves like what is appropriate.
Okay. Nick?
So speaking to Rachel's point on some directors not having constituencies that they meet with weekly or whatever, I believe it's in the bylaws that directors are supposed to have regular meetings with their constituency, and then it is vague up to what that means by regularly. And then talking to Manuel's point about the recording the hours as was done in the past, I want to ask Natalie how much extra management time does it take sorting through all the recorded hours?
What do you mean management time?
So like when you're looking through, if someone's got their timesheets recording all the hours, how much extra work does that?
Okay, so you're just trying to explain like how it works?
No, like how much time does it take you to sort through those hours?
Well, I just collect them. The executive will see them, and they are the ones that approve X amount of hours per. I just collect them every month. Wait till the 6 months are done, and then I'd give them to the executive. They look through them, they return them back to me, and say these are how many hours they get. And I say okay.
So I think what we're wanting is more clarity on the hours everyone's given. I think definitely this needs to be a bylaw committee. This needs to be tabled in the bylaw committee. But I think my recommendation to them is to look at going back to the older system with a lower, like having everyone record all of their hours with a lower cap. Not, I think 12 is too much. On Aaron's point about our credit hour budget, but I also think 3 is too low, and we can figure that out at the bottom.
Agreed. Rachel.
Okay, I have like a few things to talk about. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, this is speaking to Natalie first. Is there any way for directors to carry over hours from this term to next term and then record them for next term's pay period?
Okay. Due to the vagueness of the new bylaw, in the policies it states that how it's usually done, just for finance-wise, it's any hours you work from May till October is one term. Okay. And it also works in with the by-elections and whatnot, so that way if you start November till April, then you get paid May. So it's basically lumped into 2. So it's, if you think about it, it's 2 pay periods that you guys get.
Okay.
So that makes
that makes sense.
Okay.
Next thing, Nick mentioning the meeting with, you're supposed to be meeting with your constituencies. I think that's also something that needs to be discussed, because I know I keep speaking personally, but every week at Women's Collective meetings, attendance is taken. So it's recorded that I am there every week for these meetings. So it's not necessarily set in stone that every single person is meeting with their constituency. So we don't really know. It's more he said, she said about whether or not people are attending meetings or
meeting with their constituency in a different sort of fashion. So there was that, and then the idea of Manuel's idea of having executive kind of distribute hours accordingly. I feel like that might not necessarily be the best way to go about things, just because that could cause some controversy over who has been putting in that extra work for those hours. So I think it'd be best to just leave it and then potentially clarify it for next term. It's unfortunate that it wasn't more clarified by last year's council, but we're kind of doing with what we have with these kind of vague bylaws. So I think it's just best to leave it until next term. So yep.
Sean Michael?
No, you guys are answering all my questions.
Yeah, I know. Speaking now, yeah, I think the best thing is to. I think that I would preferably think we should go back to the old system, but increase the cap of credit hours, because 3 is too low. Because even if you do a minimum amount of work, just come to board meetings, your few subcommittee meetings, meet with your constituent groups. You're still putting in, I would say, at least 3 credit hours worth of time, if not more. So I mean, and then people that are super active, it is shortchanging them, exactly to Manuel's point. So I think that's something we need to change for next year. Yeah. So I think that's. Yeah.
So I'd like to officially table this discussion and send it to bylaw committee.
Sounds good.
I have a question, but I think I'm only allowed to speak twice.
Yeah. I think you've only spoken once, Manuel. This will be the second time.
No, I spoke twice.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can we make a does someone want to make a motion to extend the speakers list by one more time per person?
I can do
Aaron?
Well,
I'm trying to give you the opportunity to speak that well.
I know it's just more of a question, I guess. So I guess.
Okay, you know what? If it's just a question, go ahead.
So, like, do you want us to keep track of our hours now, like, opposed to before where we were just getting the automatic $300?
Nick?
So clarify, it's 3 credit hours, not $300. Just clarification.
Well, works out.
The other thing is this change wouldn't come into effect next semester. It would be a change for next year after the general election. So unfortunately, we're stuck with this system until then.
I don't understand. My question wasn't answered.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, so, Joel, for this semester, like, end of December, are all directors getting the $300 and then the $400 for Rock the Block, the ones that participated?
Oh yeah, they're getting each director is getting their 300 plus those that were at Rock the Block. They're 1 extra credit hour. Yes.
Okay, so for even events like the Christmas event and constituencies that are still meeting for this month of December, for next semester, are we doing the same thing where we get the allotted $300, or are we keeping track of all our hours so it's 15 hours per credit hour?
We still have to go by the bylaw, so you get your 3 credit hours. And then I guess the only thing I'd say is if you think you've done anything above and beyond, record it.
Well, my question is, like, do we have to fill out the tuition rebate sheet and submit it, like, for our 3 credit hours? Because we didn't do that for this past semester. Like, you know what I'm asking? You know what I mean? Like, because this past semester, so, like, the $300 was automatic for everybody, and then the $400 or whatever for Rock the Block. Like, it was automatic for everybody. That was...
Yeah.
We council had determined that at the beginning of the year. So now that, like, people are concerned with, like, keeping track of every hour, like we have done in the past, like by filling out the tuition rebate sheet and keeping track of all our hours so that we have, 3 is whatever, to get the 300, like, you know what I mean? Like, do we have to write down all our hours now and make sure that we submit that before we're paid? Or are we just going to go with everyone gets the $300 automatically without filling out the tuition rebate sheet?
Speakers list, please.
Go ahead, Roland first, and then I'll. and answer the question, Roland?
Or are we deciding that as a council? Like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, Natalie's next.
But it's important to know so that we can keep track of the events for like this month because they count towards next semester, right?
Okay. Roland?
Yeah, but as I understand, we might need to put in the tuition rebate sheet just for formality for Nelly. But then again, I believe we should do that if we think we should be paid more than the three credit hours that we are supposed to get. So that means that if we are not claiming anything beyond the 3-hour credit hours, then we don't have to monitor the hours that we are putting in. But like for example, like for last term, we put in hours for the rock the block. So we are submitting a tuition rebate sheet for our 3 credit hours plus the hours we put in for rock the block. Like there might have been people who did not put in hours, so they're not supposed to get any rebate credit hours extra for rock the block because they didn't show up. But for those who did, then they should be writing that in the tuition rebate sheet, just for them to be able to make sure that they are getting their extra credit hours that they're due them.
Okay, thank you, Roland. I think that kind of.
So,
Natalie?
Okay, so currently, maybe Joel's not making it 100% clear. So currently in the bylaws, it states that all council members get 3 credit hours, correct? Okay, so all of you get 3 credit hours regardless because that's what's in the bylaws. Now, if you guys are currently thinking about changing that, then great, wait for the bylaw committee to meet and it'll change for next year. So moving forward, you only submit a tuition rebate form if you do any work, like additional work. And by additional work, from what I understand the executive meant, was if you help out with socials at SUDS, whether it be working at the door or a shooter bar, because that is completely different than BUSU. You're actually helping us out by being there and working those things. Or if you're like Roland, who picks up our food bank bread every week. So that's like an office thing that we need people for, that some council members are able to do those jobs for us. And that we require for you to track it, just because we can't keep track of, let's say you work 3 socials 1 month or no socials, like we don't track that stuff. So you can track those things so that executive can look at that and be able to give you that additional tuition rebate hours.
You summed it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not explain that well. So thank you, Natalie.
No, you're welcome.
So I think we're all on the same page now. Sorry, everyone. Nick?
so it's just like to reiterate, table this and send it to bylaw committee.
Okay, it's good. If everyone's good, we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, we'll move on to point H. And this is more just a piece of information, but SUDS BUSU Christmas party coming up on Saturday, December 6th at 7 p.m. I'll send an email out to council with all the details, but we're having combined SUDS BUSU Christmas. Sorry? Oh, okay. Combined SUDS BUSU Christmas party. SUDS, 7 p.m. on December 6th. It'll be a potluck of appetizers and snacks. All of you are invited plus 1. Drinks are $20 open bar. And free pop is also available all night. And feel free to bring games to play or an iPod to hook up to the sound system. The pool table will also be open. Suze, and then Rachel.
So initially with this Christmas party, we thought we were maybe just going to have it with like BUSU staff and executive and SUD staff, but then like our office assistants have been really wanting to meet you. Like we had thrown the BUSU Halloween kind of gathering, and not everyone was available to make it. There was other circumstances, but Manuel came. I think he had a fun time for my pockets. But They have mentioned in a couple of our staff meetings that they'd really love to meet you guys. So if you guys are able to make that date, it would be fantastic. I think it would be really good for them to know you. And they said, you know, sometimes they don't know you guys if you guys are coming in the office. And I know that some of you have said that you don't know the office assistants well, and we'd really love everyone to kind of mingle and get to know each other. So if you can make it, that would be really, really great.
Okay, perfect.
What was the date? Sorry.
December 6th at 7 o'clock p.m. in Suds. I have a sign-up sheet in my office.
I'll send out an email with all the details as well to council members.
Yes, please sign up. FYI, if you're coming.
Does this mean there's only one option though? Only the $20 instead of
If you plan
Yeah.
to drink, it's $20
Yeah.
flat for open bar.
Yeah, because we have enough
30
people.
isn't an option.
It's pretty cheap for an open bar.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
It's still fun.
point I. LGBT collective funding. Also attached here we have LGBT collective funding letter and budget. So if I could have a motion to okay, I haven't even finished saying what the motion was, but Nick seconded Aaron. Motion to give them their collective funding for this year in the form of $2,000. Discussion. Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Awesome. All right, on to our final point. Bugs ratification. Brandon University Geographical Society. The club ratification. Do I have a mover and a second to ratify them as a club? Nick, seconded Rachel. Discussion. Okay. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Moving on. Point 8. Business arising from reports.
I have one thing to add to mine. I just forgot to mention. For the office staff and exec being invited to our residence banquet, that doesn't include a +1 because Paul's chief and doesn't want to pay for you that day.
That's okay,
He's
my girl.
inviting like the presidents and his wife and all their spouses, but you don't get.
That's okay. My +1 already has a ticket. So.
We'll be each other's +1.
He said that with there being 5 of you, there's enough people you can
Mingle
talk,
together.
mingle amongst yourselves and not be lonely. So.
Am I still doing tech stuff for you guys?
Yes, I have something else to talk to you about.
All right.
Anyways.
Order, everybody. We're almost done. Announcements.
Speakers list.
Okay, go ahead, Manuel.
I have a quick question. Are we giving out Christmas hampers again from the food bank? I know there are some questions on the BUSU group about hampers. Food hampers?
Yeah. Suze, Natalie, what do you want to?
Just from my understanding, what I had asked earlier on in the year whether or not we were doing this. Apparently, no one picked them up last year. Apparently, there was like a whole bunch of people who signed up. There was like 25, and then we had a bunch of extra chickens kind of left in our fridge, in our freezer, and so then Natalie ended up donating those chickens to the
Brandon Latina Association.
Because they had been left in our fridge for almost I think 7 or 8 months at that
Yeah.
point. So a lot of people signed up for it, I guess, last year, and then I think only a couple people showed up and actually got their hampers. If council is interested in having it happen again, we could do it, but I don't know how to make sure that people pick them up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate. Natalie?
The last week for food bank pickup will be the week of the 15th, and that would mean that December 19th is the last day for food bank hampers available, and it won't start back up till January 2nd, just so everyone knows.
So how many people in a week do we usually...
I'm sorry, not
do we-
January 2nd, January 9th.
January 9th.
Sorry.
Manuel, you have a question?
How many people in a week do we estimate come to use the food bank?
Nick?
About 12 to 15 is what the book is saying. There's a record up in the food bank, so it's 12 to 15ish every Friday.
We're currently working on, Nick and I kind of put together a little graph, a little chart that we're trying to coordinate. It doesn't have enough information to really make it useful to hand it out yet, but hopefully in the next 2 months, probably in the new year, we'll be able to hand it out and show everyone.
So could we buy 10 chickens maybe, and like the first 10 people that come get them, just for Christmas.
Nick?
From one thing I've seen, a lot of the people who are coming are asking for items they don't have to use a stove for. So I'm unsure on if they'd want a chicken or not. We could, I don't know.
Or we could buy rotisserie chickens maybe.
Yeah, that's a possibility, definitely. We'll look into it. How about that? Does that work?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, we can look into that. Okay, Nick?
So another announcement is there's going to be a pieing in the face.
That was my announcement. Okay, I'm gonna give my announcements then.
Do it.
Yogurt bar coming up Monday. We're gonna be doing a yogurt bar from 10 to 12 down in the Mingley area. If anyone would like to come give us a hand, feel free to.
Does anyone know if they can?
Yeah.
Sean? Okay.
Monday. This coming Monday.
What's the date?
First.
Time. Sorry.
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Yeah, that actually.
We bought all the stuff
Yeah.
today. So.
And then on the next Wednesday, December 3rd, from 12 to 3, we'll be doing cookie decorating and pictures of Santa.
We probably need more help
Dressed
for
by
that.
yours truly.
Yeah.
Nice.
And by that I mean I'll be dressed as Santa.
So you have a Santa suit.
You have to find one.
I know I'll get Santa soon.
Master Kit.
So Nick, wear your Santa suit for the banquet.
No, the tag is
I'll sell it to McMaster for 100% markup. I'm just kidding. We'll see.
We need a Santa suit.
And then coming up as well, we've got an invitation to all the council members and staff from Brown University for their annual holiday luncheon, which is taking place Friday, December 19th from 12 to 1:30 in the dining hall. It's $15 per person for tickets. So if anyone's interested, I'll send out all the details where you can get tickets and so on. And you can buy your tickets up until Friday, December 12th. So I'll send it out as part of an email tonight with all the details. And then finally, as Nick beat me to the punch, Monday at 4:30 in the cafeteria, I will be pieing
No, Ming area.
in the Mingling area. 4:30 on Monday in the Mingling area, I will be pieing ACCSA President Larry as part of the fact that part of our nice little bet around the Halloween food drive where we outraised them in food about
5 to 1.
yeah, about 5 to 1 roughly. So I'm gonna get him some nice chocolate, hopefully some chocolate with here or something. And Nick?
I move to adjourn.
Well, does anyone else have any other announcements?
Tomorrow, the exec, myself, and Sue will be meeting to go over early planning for snow orientation, which is second term orientation events. So if any of you have any ideas that you might want to do differently or anything, just send, I would say, Joel and Ronnie an email.
Yep.
Because they will be basically helping spearhead that, but we're meeting about that tomorrow. So
Perfect. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Nick, seconded. Aaron. All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Meeting is adjourned at 8:04.